picking up on now. It's actually the audio's picking up. Okay, I see the audio's going to pick up through the speaker on the live cam. So, but with this speaker here, we should be able to pick up. Okay, the live stream's up. We're streaming on the internet through the site. So if he wants to pick the audio up, I'm going to pick that audio up.
Yeah, I might need to get back when you're back. So.
Okay.
Show at 5.
Oh, that's a pretty damn good.
Our live stream is on right now.
So they can see us live.
So they can see us live streaming.
But they can't hear us.
They should be able to hear us too. So everybody out there on the internet, hello, how y'all doing? We're getting ready to go live here. Wait for Celestial Radio and some technical issues to come up, and when we get the cue, we'll go ahead and start. So if your parents are home watching, were your parents going to get on the live stream time?
Yes, my parents are going.
Okay, so we should just about to start.
We live?
They're live, right?
Let us know who wants to bring us in. We're on now. Oh, wow, outstanding. Hey, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Lions Live as we broadcast here at the Grange Fair. We've got to get out here for this. We just got word that we got picked up here on Y106 FM and WBLF on the AM side. My name's Skip Robert, along with Stephen Davis and Kyle Ballas here. Kyle's a recent grad here at Penn State, played defensive tackle, started last year. And big dude Stephen Davis and I are on the 86 National Championship team together here. And we're thankful to be here at the Grange Fair. If you're out there listening on the radio, you have to come here, folks. It's the only festival of its kind in the world. And we're actually giving away some tickets to the first Penn State home football game to come and have lunch at Beaver Stadium with the former players. And the only place you can register for this contest is right here at headquarters. So if you're out there listening on radio, this whole week, get in here to the Grange Fair, stop by headquarters and register for that contest. And right before the Outlaws concert on Thursday night, we will draw a winner. And the first home Penn State game, you'll be able to come up to Beaver Stadium, have lunch at halftime, and meet all the former players. And the lunch is on us. It's a nice buffet lunch show. Get a chance to come out there to the Letterman Lounge. It's going to be a great time. And it's a great time here at Grange Fair also. And I want to thank them for allowing us to come out here tonight. And I know Art's going to come up here real soon, and we're going to talk with him a little bit about the Grange Fair. And I know there's some really, really good chocolate that they have on ice that you have to buy. So it's for the Grange. I've bought some. I've tasted it myself. Get in here to see Art at headquarters because he has the chocolate and it's good stuff. Thankful that all you guys could make it here. Kyle coming in here today as well as Stephen. We're excited to talk to Penn State football folks. We are on the Forever Lions Network. It's the only network built by the players for the fans. The only player-only hosted program of its kind in the country. And only former Penn State football players come out and talk Penn State sports, giving you the comments from the sidelines to the locker rooms, hearing the stories that you've never heard before. But we're not just talking about our experience at Penn State, but we want to relate to you about what we can see out of practice. I was very thankful to be able to get out this past Tuesday and see practice. And I'm so thankful Kyle is here because he is one of the players who actually played under Coach Paterno and also just graduated now playing under Coach O'Brien. So Kyle, thank you for joining us, and congratulations to you and your wife, just married here. Many blessings to you and your family as you move to this next stage of your life, and we're great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. You look forward to hearing your stories here, so I'm not sure where to jump in with this. I guess I could talk a little bit about what I noticed here on Tuesday's practice. They actually had a live scrimmage. And also, this is kind of a unique thing, too. You've probably noticed this, we all remember. The equipment manager at Penn State are unlike these poor guys had to jump through some hoops on Tuesday. Think of the weather we had here. It was raining and pouring, and I show up at practice, and I'm thinking we're outside, right outside Hoover Hall. And they say, oh no, we're at the stadium. So I go walk over to the stadium, I go inside the stadium, I walk around and I'm looking around, and all getting set up for practice. and then it starts to pour. It's rain. I mean, it started pouring down rain. And next thing you know, they got the word, they're inside. So everything they set up out there, from the football machines, you name it, everything they had to haul back over to Louisville Hall. Actually, the Big Ten officials were there to officiate the scrimmage, and they actually were there ready to suit up at Beaver Stadium. Everybody had to get back over to Louisville Hall. Those guys, in a matter of minutes, got everything together, got it back out inside there at Louisville Hall. They started practice. The weather broke, and Coach took us outside. But your experience, Kyle, Penn State, I'm sure you've had similar experiences like that. And noticing the coaching styles, I'm sure everybody wants to hear some of the differences you've noticed between Coach Joe Paterno and Coach O'Brien. Because one of his first few classes coming out of Penn State, you actually played under Coach Paterno and Coach O'Brien.
Yes, well, Paterno was more practice style, whereas you had meetings and you went and did practice, whereas O'Brien, he was all about meetings. He had that NFL mentality, and like it's your job. Like it is your job to go there and watch film. And then you went out in the practice field, and then you actually had a walkthrough before the practice just to get used to the plays, the special teams drills, so everything would go smoothly when practice started. So it was a big gap between those two experiences.
Yeah, it sounds like, even though there's a big gap, it sounds like the emphasis is still on a lot of detail, but in different ways. As a playing for Joe, I remember we did have the practice time that did translate into the field. Some people who went on the field before then went to what we call early work. I don't know if you call it early work as well. On certain things, certain plays, special teams. Skip as a kicker, you were out for early work. I remember my one day as a tight end, an experiment that didn't work, I was out for early work. But it sounds like that the emphasis, even though the styles were different, we're still talking about efficiency and paying attention to small details.
I agree.
But something that I wasn't used to when I saw this week's practice, Stephen and I were used to, is this music that was playing during practice. And I'm just not used to hearing music. You know, when we played, we had the team that we're playing that week. They would have that stadium's crowd sound pumped in the noise when we were playing. But this, all these different types of music that we had, and I don't know if they purposely picked annoying stuff or not, man. Or if I'm just too far old school and moved on or removed from it. But I would have to. I mean, I heard anything from rap to techno to country, every genre you can think of. And I'm wondering, Kyle, is it something that they do to just try to distract people, to try to help you focus, or what was the idea behind that?
I think it's a new thing going out with the music playing, because you have some Katy Perry, you probably never heard Katy Perry, or Avicii. These are new bands coming out, and it's, I guess, our generation, we love music, and we like listening to it. It's just a way of, I guess, getting the recruits in a sense, because it just pumps people up. When you're out there with the pads on, you don't hear anything. You gotta listen to the coach, because if you don't listen to drill right, you're gonna be running laps.
I didn't see anybody running laps.
Yeah.
It was a good scrimmage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a 20-year-old, so I've heard a few of those groups. But and we, for the record, we liked our music as well. The difference was when we go in the weight room, listen to the music to our cassette tapes, again, I'm dating myself, and then come back to practice, and then we have the music in the locker room, and we go out. Although we didn't have music, Skip, I don't know if you remember, depending upon the type of game it was going to be, we had manufactured crowd noise. And again, we're talking about before technology. So there was a number of things that could not be done before. So, for example, if we were going to play Syracuse, I mean, you guys played Syracuse last year outside, but you never played them inside of the dome, right?
No.
Oh my God, the Carrier Dome, you can't hear from me to you, and you to me. And there would be manufactured crowd noise. The only difference was it wasn't on a regular basis. I also know some NFL teams doing it as well. I know Chip Kelly from the Eagles also does the same thing.
One thing I noticed about when we travel to away games is if games wasn't fully covered, fully around the field, it was less noise because the sound wouldn't stay in the stadium. But for example, Minnesota, they had an open one end. Mm-hmm. It got loud when you towards the one end when it was closed, but when you got towards the other end, you didn't hear much of anything.
Skip, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask some questions, Kyle, a few questions. One of the things I, of course, want to focus on now that your football career is over at Penn State, like all the rest of us now. I'm sure you had a great career. I think because we're just talking with the changes, coaches. Let's talk about last year. I mean, you guys 7-5 last year, 4-4 in the Big Ten, and you were very competitive last year. What do you think the key was? And there were some games that apparently that people thought you were supposed to not win, and you won, and games that you should have won that you lost. Tell us about last year's team. You talk about Coach O'Brien driving things hard. Tell us about how last year's team gelled and made it through adversity.
We had our hot and cold moments. I remember playing at Indiana. That you have to pump yourself up because there's like nobody in the fans. There's nobody in the student section, and it's just empty. You have to pump yourself up and get yourself mentally ready for the game. If you're not ready, Indiana's known to just run the ball every 12 seconds. Once the ball stops, they're lining up and they're going to keep on going. That was with Indiana. We were hot that day. We were pumped up, and then a couple games we were close. UFC or UCF.
That's my fault, everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll explain that one later.
Yeah. But we were close there. It was just a couple calls. Like Joe and Bill always said, it comes down to a couple plays. And if you make those plays, you're going to win the game. If you don't make the plays, you're going to lose the game.
Absolutely. But if it's a thing to look at it when we talk about the record. I did mention the record was 7-5, but it looked like it could have easily been 10-2. I mean, the disappointing losses, and you get the letters right this time, UCF. Of course, you had Ohio State, which was just an out-and-out bad game, and Nebraska. And then, like I said, I had a question mark, and I think Indiana even ended up 5-7 now. Are they a good team, or are they just capable of doing well because of the type of ball they play?
It all depends your preparation for the game. Like I said about Indiana, they are known just to line up after the play's over. The coach will make a hand signal, and they're going to snap the ball. So us defense, we have to line up and look to the side and make sure we know what the call is before they snap the ball. And it's always about preparation with Indiana. If you don't have that preparation or if you don't have that mindset of being ready, you're going to lose.
And who do you rely on in those signals? You have to coming in, they have the linebackers with the call. Was it Carson last year sitting the defense from the sideline? I know you guys are lining up and there's all this confusion, and you got to make sure your alignments are straight, you're playing the gaps.
The best way we did it was we had either the defensive coordinator, the defensive line, the linebackers, or whoever coach was on the sideline. We said, all right, he's the coach for this series to watch his hand signals while everyone else is the dummy. Because you don't want to give them just one call because they'll understand it. And then after he gives the call, everyone needs to talk. So the closest cornerback to the sideline needs to yell it to the linebackers, and the linebackers need to pass it to each other to the other corner. Because sometimes you don't see the hand signal, but if people are communicating, they'll be able to get to the play.
So communication is definitely the key in every game, and a lot of them sure they lost. Now, of course, we're starting off this year against Central Florida. I mean, and we lost to Central Florida, and they had an outstanding quarterback. Now they're coming back. Central Florida is that big of a team, or was it we just didn't play to our potential, or were they just better that day? I didn't understand why they lost that game. I thought that was one game I said, boy, the quarterback is good, but we had a better overall team. Just games like that. What was it that made a game like that get away?
It was one of our earlier games, and with the earlier games, you have to have everything in order. Mm-hmm. I remember our defensive call, we had a check where there was nobody in the backfield except the quarterback. Well, we would all crunch in, and we do this we're going to come and get you or not. It's like a fake, just to get the quarterback under pressure. Well, he checked it as a run and pushed everyone down one side and had a 30-yard gain, which it was just communication. We weren't ready, but we also made some plays, and it actually caught up, and it was a close game. It came down to a couple calls, and we didn't have our way. We made a couple mistakes, and we just lost it.
Yeah, it was an outstanding game, and I must say, somebody sitting to my left actually did pick UCF last year in a close game, of course. And I must say I did pick Michigan first game. I mean, I picked us against Michigan last year.
You did.
Yeah,
Ladies
so-
and gentlemen, we're actually broadcasting live here at the Center County Grange Fair. Be sure to come on out. When an opportunity comes,
For the Army Reserve, we have 3-point basketball contest at the basketball court for the back. Along with that worship, a 3-point basketball contest. Anybody come on down.
We'll do Stephen Davis, my name is Skip Roberts. We'll be right back after these messages.
He played then. Yeah, he can do that all this isn't the correct way. What about that?
That's all right.
You did well, though. Good stuff. You did really well.
That's his handle. Sure. We can do either some different hand he wants me to use. To spell them.
I believe Skype and BLF is should be the same one we use right now. It's the only one that BLF is tested.
That's lower you there.
Oh, we don't have that now. It's the dirty show. The dirty show.
All right, so, like when you was in there, sometimes people don't hear about the ways that they can drive. Most of
This is for.
how much time we got? 2 minutes?
Probably about 2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
See that?
Good call. So what do you guys want to go into? You know, let's talk. Let's talk Central Florida State coming up. And your experience last year.
We talked a little bit about it already, but I guess we can keep going.
Yeah, we have.
Maybe we want to talk about the offensive line.
I'll just mention a little bit about the offense.
Yeah, they have a lot of returning starters.
We got the dumb drops on the
That'll stop it.
Yeah, Lions.live. That's the phone message all over there. We can go back and forth. Lions.live. Something all over there. We can go back and forth about configuration. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once now we got I sent it to BL. If he needs to send me another one, I don't care as long as we're talking. We should wrap up in about a minute. So they can get Okay, hey, we're back already, folks. We're live here broadcasting at the Grange Fair. Kyle Ballas, welcome back. And we're working through the technical issues here. We're sorry if there's any type of sound quality issues that may be picking up on the radio side, folks. We'll do the best we can, but I know that we do probably have pretty decent sound quality coming in on the streaming side. So lineslive.com. Hey, be sure to come out to Grange Fair, folks. They have some really nice chocolates here. You're going to see Art at headquarters. He has all iced down. All the money goes to the Grange and a really good tasting chocolate. So be sure to come out and get some chocolates from Art. And it's a really neat experience if you've never been to Grange Fair. It's been around for 140 years. It's a great opportunity. No other fair like it in the country. I'm thankful and blessed to be part of this fair. It's my kid as a kid. The time I haven't been here is when I've been with the military. We're actually playing football. Those are the years I've been on this fair. It's the preseason. But it's great to be on here, so be sure to come out here. And if you're again listening live, I want to check it out. But the other reason we come out here too is we're actually giving away lunch at halftime at the Letterman Lounge, where you can actually come out and make the
Last call for the chicken dance. Last call for the chicken dance. We are lining up in front of headquarters. Chicken dance leaves at 4:30. Today's chicken dance prizes, thanks to Marcy's Orange Aid. All the kids who chicken dance will get a small Orange Aid ticket to redeem at Marcy's. Thanks, Marcy's. We'll put on a really good show for you today.
But you also just want to be able to talk a little bit more about last year's experience. Kyle's had a great opportunity at Sheridan Street, and it's going to be really into here in this next week, coming up with Central Florida. And last year, as you mentioned, before the break, Stephanie, you usually go up here, and you get paid up for a draw. And I saw the book in Central Florida was really it was close and kind of right on, but I think I noticed it with size, quickness, and speed, strength. You was actually a more front with that one game facing Boulevard Florida. Maybe the children where was like last year in Central Florida, and what was maybe they could maybe be expected on the short term.
I think their line's going to be ready this year again. We have two brothers in the line. I don't know if they're guard to guard or guard tackle, but they are really decent. And their line, we're one of the big physical teams that we played against that early in the football schedule. Bortles wasn't a good addition too last year, but now he's gone, so I don't know if the next quarterback will be ready to go for this season.
And when you think about a non-conference game like that, I noticed that a lot of conferences, and I've looked at some of the other conferences, they will not take a non-conference game because they don't want to miss the loss. To me, though, it seems like if you get through a game like that early, that could set the tone for the conference. Maybe you can't have 4 non-conference games early. But what does a non-conference game
It builds you up or it tears you down. It tells you if you're ready or you're not. And it's a good
Don't forget to start the round with the underreserved having a 3-point
if you don't go to the conference, it's not ready.
If you wanted a tournament competition,
ready to go, everything polished, and then you're ready to go.
That's a great thing.
Tell me also about their offensive
Thank you, James Carter, for being the gold sponsor for the 2014 Grange Fair. Don't forget that English Market has fresh produce just the is ready here all fair long. Stop on by for all your fair needs, including some of the additional
They were physical, and they were, I think they were a little early, and we were ready to go. We thought we were going to be like speaking with the mindset ready to go, and we came in, we're not going to go. So Michigan had some big players, but the one guy he came out with a concussion, and I think they weren't didn't have much to get a lot of
That's the other one. You have a place to Tennessee.
Yes,
He got drafted pretty high too. So whatever they saw, I guess that's what we were looking at when we beginning of the game. I mean, I see our defensive line now when we're back. I mean, those are the things that I was going to mention. We have our defensive edge guard. This is the third year start.
Yeah. Great player, great instincts too to go. You remember the Wisconsin game?
Yeah.
He was running down and he was kind of upset that they were running back out of him because he had the end zone right in his front of his eyes, but the running back came up behind him. All the players were ragging on him, and you can't run the running back. So it was good. He'll bring some leadership on that defensive line.
So definitely, I'm sure they're coming back with someone to please. Obviously, Central Florida's offensive attack is very solid as well.
It'll be a good matchup.
And like I said, I don't know, Skip. I'd like to see what Central Florida is going to do with the defense. You have the defensive ends that are back. You have both Barnes and along with that. You got Hall now, middle linebacker. And you got the young man Woodley, number 5. He's just, I think, from what I saw, outstanding in his athleticism. And 245. And you pushed that Lucas, and you got a number of other people that are there. And also Brandon Bell from South Jersey. I got to rip the South Jersey guys. Tell me, what was it that got him in the lineup last year? Number 26. I saw him and I just could not believe he got himself in the lineup that early. But by the 14, he's in the lineup. How does somebody break into the lineup as a freshman? Skip, you didn't see that team.
Yeah, I like that.
You know the way to do it is to get on special teams. And if you do well on special teams, you're going to be able to travel, and somebody goes down, then they're like, all right, you're stepping in. So the best way to do it is to work hard on special teams. And that's even with the NFL. They'll draft players, linebackers, wide receivers that can do special teams too. They'll start there, and then they'll build off. It's about the hard work. If they see your hard work and you're trying, they'll put you on the field.
Generally speaking, that is the way a lot of guys are making it, or finding a slot on the team. I mean, limited numbers of guys on the roster. I don't know whether it's a good to bump it up again or not. I mean, I think it's a mixed emotion. You know, if you watch the HBO series in the preseason, I mean, you see what's happening. I mean, this is life-changing effects for guys.
Well, Hard Knocks.
Really, yeah, Hard Knocks. It's pretty good, and I'd like to see the NFL roster beefed up and bumped up. There are guys getting hurt, having those slots, guys off working other jobs, falling back in. If they added another 10 slots to a roster, I think it would make a much. I think guys are still healthier longer, play the game longer, give other guys opportunities to break into. Just a personal thing.
Well, I mean, you can add some more people, but I guess what the NFL appears to me is something like what I've seen over the years has been more and more about efficiency. I think the difficult part about extending the roster past 53, the practice will be about efficiency. How do you get these guys better? How do you get them on the field? How are they going to be into the flowing game? I think that rather than extra people would be fine if it was focused on, again, how you run the organization and get them involved. And the practice squad always seems to be something that I hope it could be more and more continued. And it may change from week to week. I think that's the other thing.
Well, like, if you think about baseball, if somebody goes down, they bring somebody like below, like as like a double A, is that how it is in baseball? I'm not sure. Like it's the same thing as practice squad. If someone goes down and that person's been practicing with the team, he knows the playbook. He's going to be brought up to the, I guess, I don't know, varsity club or the spot and be able to play while that person's injured. So we don't have any short inject for the teams.
Right. I mean, I think that, like I said, there's some opportunities there. But I think one of the reasons I think is good that you had Coach Ryan last year. He was able to kind of make do with what we had for scholarships because we were in a very similar situation. We had other similar situations. How much did you feel that in practice? Not being able to have certain people in certain positions, who was ready. It seemed to be, even though we had decent depth, it wasn't depth that we needed because of the scholarships and all things. How do you play through that and how do you prepare?
Well, one thing with Bill O'Brien, his football IQ is really high. So he made somebody like Matt McGowan into a non-scholarship player, pretty much into a starting NFL quarterback. It just, teaching you want to recruit the right kids, and we have the right kids. It's just telling them what they need to do, have that football IQ, have that football instinct to go out there and play.
Yeah, I think that's important because if it's short, and that's why I mentioned someone like Brandon Bell that makes special teams. The difficult part is they do special teams and make the team begin as a risk for injury when you're down a linebacker. You know, when we played, we had the 85 scholarships, and there probably were another 15 or 20 who probably should have been on scholarship. We had one guy who played with Jimmy Phillips. He had never returned a ball in his life. Guy could 6 feet, small little guy, 5'7", maybe. Right? The kid said he should have been one game against Boston College, and he returns it back to 50. And he's a 50 he's on scholarship. But now, I mean, from what I understand, you brought back up on the scholarship. So, what adjustments do we make now? I mean, what do we see? Are we focusing more on linemen? Are we focusing more on quarterback? It seems like Christian Hackenberg is doing so well. You have to scared to keep him around.
Another thing before we move on about Bill O'Brien.
Okay.
I think he had like a maximum of 65 players to travel. He only took what we needed. He sent a statement to the NCAA, hey, we only need 59 guys or 50 guys just to go out there and play hard and we'll win the game. So it was pretty neat being Michigan with the numbers we had.
Right.
Being a top school like that.
Absolutely.
Oh, I enjoyed that game. And I tell you,
That was awesome game.
yeah. I danced on the sideline when the story was over. I really did. I can't say it. But just seeing that and seeing, like you said, the arrogance of their ball club. It was almost like they were a top 5 team, and I just didn't get it. And I was proud of how you all responded. I think that's what we have to look at this year. I think more and more we have these guys back, especially on offense. When I take a look at what we lost on offense, I say, we lost Robinson. I think we lost 3 O-linemen that were starting. Is it Tyler Howe? John Ursul, he's gone.
He had the IQ. He was very smart.
Oh, goodness. I saw it. A lot of the different things. So the major losses, and of course, you have yourself. You had Gatewan, you had Carson on defense, and open. So now, do they have the forward experience you think now that kind of had a better start? You mentioned it was an early game last year. Do you feel like they should be more ready this year for Central Florida?
Now this is different because it's a different coach. They have a different philosophy, different playbook. So it all depends if they have everything down. If they don't have it down, they're not going to be ready for the season. That's the biggest thing. And they got to understand like the flow of coaches. Some coaches have different philosophies of getting hard on players or just telling players straight up, or whatever it is during halftime. It's a different way of like you're not used to the flow. You have to get used to that flow before you get in the game. Because with Paterno, it was different. We didn't have these stretches before we went out to the field. With O'Brien, we had 6 who made us do stretches before we went out to the field.
Oh, wow.
So we were like 3 warmed up, 4 of a stretch.
That explains one thing.
Yeah. So it's a whole different philosophy. It's just a matter of if they're comfortable for that first game.
Okay. Well, I'd like to pick this up a little bit. We're going to head off to a break here. Listen to Lions Live here to broadcast at the Grange Fair. Be sure to come on out if you want to win at halftime. Meal with the forward players at Beaver Stadium for the first game. You must register at headquarters. So stop in and do that. If you're listening out there on the radio, be sure to come to Grange Fair. Register all week long. And we're going to have a drawing here on Thursday night. And you can actually have lunch at halftime with the 4 players in the first game registering at headquarters. So we'll be right back here after these matches, so stay right tuned. This breaks about 6 minutes. We're going to adjust this. I don't know if you hear me when we're plotting back up there. I'll communicate with you in Skype and a break, and we've got to adjust the sound.
He knew that going in this stage. He said, this is not, I love the coach, but this is not where I want to be. We all knew that people were contacting. There was the right team to contact him that they were good. And we would understand. One thing he did was, you know how you get letters? Well, I got letters 3 years so quick, and I just said no because I said no.
Right.
So I would have got this point. So instead, he said to the bus director, hey, no, get that kid a regular work here. He deserves it. He actually not the guy he told you the truth. He didn't try to hide anything. And I appreciate it.
That's how we play our
And you know, there's an element of it that people need to tell you so much of the truth.
as long as you talk to this, let's play out there. I didn't know that's the way you do it. That's how we do it.
Somebody would always be stuck in the
Yeah.
Actually, we're missing
Okay, yeah, so I have this.
There's something with it. There's something with it. When you're in the elevator with him at the hotel, it's doing your stuff.
Right.
I'll switch them on that. So
You're right. You're right.
that makes a difference. Okay, you're still at the board here at the state. Let us know on Skype when we come up out of the break. And run a sound check now on the audio into the studio and see how we're coming through. Can you Skype me and let me know? Because I can't hear you. We don't have the feed coming back from you.
Oh my God.
I was about to jump over there and do some chicken dance.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is yet. But yeah, man, it's time for him too on the show. It's time for the show. I wasn't that man. I had my audition to do. And you know what? When it was time for me to get a job, and the time I was ready. You know the representation of
We are live right now. Hey, guess what, guys? I just found out we're actually back on the air again on radio. So I apologize, folks out there who are listening on radio. I found out we're actually back on live again. Communications issues here. We're trying to make sure we're coming in through the airwaves just right, but you know, technology loves to work for us all the time. So we're broadcasting live here at Grange Fair, and we're talking Penn State football here. Kyle Wallace, Big Beach, Stephen Davis. My name is Skip Brown. This bringing the best of Penn State past. Talking about the present, looking for a great future here at Penn State Sports in the days to come on the only network built by the players to you, the fans. So we're happy to get back here to you and give you the insights and talk about Penn State football like you never heard before from the guys who actually played. So we're not a podcast. We're not pre-recorded. We are Lions Live. So great to be here, and we're talking about the differences and contrast between the coaching styles from Coach Paterno, Coach O'Brien. We talked a little bit about Central Florida and what we should be expecting here. And we touched on how some of the players, you had that experience last year, and we had a lot of guys coming back. With the players you know that we have, that core group of guys that who stayed. What was the team? What was the team's at the end of the season? How were the guys coming through this? It was probably going to be a little frustrating. But the team, has the team kind of solidified, and because there's been a lot of transitions that have taken place. You know, you were there when Coach Paterno died. You were there when Coach O'Brien came in, and when all that happened, did you sense that maybe Coach O'Brien would not always be there, or be there as long as he would, or what was the team's feeling? How do you guys as players kind of come across? Because you know when you talk to a coach, that you kind of know whether he has roots here and he's going to be here for a while or not. What was his consensus from what you noticed with the team?
Well, with Bill O'Brien, he was always telling the truth. He was never a two-faced guy. He told you straight up, this is what's going to happen, or you would probably you'll be right here in this depth chart. But for him, when we went in the meetings rooms, he said, I love the coach. He never loved recruiting. He didn't like the recruiting aspect of college. He just did not like that. He loved NFL. All the team knew he liked the NFL, and that was his dream spot. He also told us that teams were contacting him, but I don't know if other players knew, it was going to be the right team. I knew if New England, if Bill Belichick retired, he would be right there. He would apply for that job. With Houston, that's a good program, and we all understood that he could go anytime. Some people were like, he would go 4 years, and I knew whenever a good opportunity would come up, he would take that.
Well, we kind of sense that too, Steph. We had those conversations about that. And I knew Coach O'Brien wasn't for long at Penn State, but I will say this: I think he was probably the best coach that could ever possibly come to Penn State to make that transition from Coach Paterno to where we went to and where we are right now. Because of the quality coach he is. I mean, he's as pure a football coach as you can get. What I mean by purity, I mean, he likes dealing with football, the sport, and you're right, Kyle. College football is not just football. It's the recruiting. And now that you're graduating, it's the babysitting. It's all that stuff that goes on all in between. It's off the field that we have to deal with. It's not like it would be in the NFL.
What's also nice is Bill O'Brien kind of eased the transition for Franklin to Tom Finney because it's becoming less with Penn State. Like, we're getting our scholarships back. We're hopefully soon getting our bowls. It's making it easier to go. But he's the guy when Penn State needed. He was the guy for us, and he helped us through that tough spot.
So I saw an article, and I was trying to pull it up here. I mean, again, I didn't necessarily the cooperation. We both would have looked at it. But the title of the article is "The Worst is Over Now." Now Penn State can move forward. From your perspective, as a neophyte, alum, do you think the worst is over? And can we really move forward?
I believe so. The more they talk about this whole thing, it brings it up. But now most of it's over, and it's not brought up. So yeah, I think the worst is over. Just transitioning from a coach, have your old coach passed away, it was tough. Even having a university too, like everyone was going through that tough spot. I believe it's over. A new coach is coming. He's going to change things around, and we're moving in the right direction.
And I just had a curious question. I just wonder, I mean, if Coach O'Brien stuck around, do you think he would have taken your extra year to play? Or would it be different consideration?
Okay.
Well,
Right.
it's tough with football. It is a job, and it was hard. And I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm going to be a teacher here. And I was going to my student teaching, and but they said, you'll have to work out this day, and then you got to teach, you got to plan. And I was thinking, my dream goal was not to go to the NFL.
Right.
My dream is to go inspire students.
Right.
So I figured, go ahead that direction. Just, I knew I'm not going to go there. Like, I knew NFL wasn't it. Just go right into teaching, focus my time there, and be there for the students.
Now, in terms of teaching, you mentioned it, because I had a lot of different influences. Anybody in particular influence on you going into teaching and trying to change young lives and dealing with those pursuits? And what goals do you have? Do you just want to teach? Do you want to go into the principalship, or do you want to be a superintendent?
I think it started with my father. He's an 8th grade teacher. When I was a senior in high school, I had an internship, and I would just be running in his shadow and see how teaching would go. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. He's an aspiring student. He's preaching there. He's trying to reach their full potential and trying to help them. That made the click before I went to college is, why not I try this teaching job out? And because hopefully down the road, I would love to coach. I love to see students grow, or my athletes grow as a person and as an athlete.
And that's just where we're at. I mean, I've been in higher education myself for 23 years, and have those same feelings. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I didn't want to go to the NFL, but at some point I did, because it was different, because I had 2 brothers in the 70s. So I said, you go, you make it a short time, it's a short ride, and there wasn't a lot of money to do in the 70s. I mean, even in 1980, with Wilbur Montgomery, that played for the Eagles, he was all-pro running back. The first team all-pro, he made $46,000. So things are different, to say the least.
We call it inflation?
Something like that. Inflation, current day value. When you look at it, I mean, $46,000 was a really good job in 1980. But nothing is really comparable to all the other things. But I just had a question as well, too, with some of the people that are coming back. You mentioned the intelligence of John Urschel. Could you tell us, though, what was he like as a leader? Was he? It looked like he could switch. How did he switch from being a person teaching physics and all those other things to to being a beast out of the field. How in the world do you do that? And how does he fit in with you all? But I'm saying to myself, if he's doing that, how in the world does he fit in with his teammates?
It's funny with Ursul. Before practice from the locker room, he sits down and tells us this math joke. He was the only one laughing.
Math joke?
Yes, a math joke.
A math joke.
A math joke.
A pi r squared math joke.
Yes.
Oh my.
He was giving us formulas and digits, and after he was done with the joke, we're all looking at the teammates like, what?
Where's the
He's just
punchline?
He's laughing at himself. He's just
Where's
laughing.
the punchline? Yeah.
So what was it that made him so special for people to rally around? He obviously had an influence on people. Was it academically, or did he lead by example?
I think he just was a smart player, and he had that switch where when you go and you listen to coach, he actually listened to coach and he improved. He knows how, like, all right, if I'm in this position, a defensive line could get me only in this way, so I got to protect myself in that way. He had the IQ for the football, and he had the intensity for it too.
Right. And now, of course, Allen Robinson's going. I understand the number one wideout, Geno Lewis, and you got Kyle, and you got Jesse coming back on the tight end. Both of them on the John Matthew watch list. I mean, what are we looking at? Are they ready to step up and take leadership for offense now?
Yeah, they're ready to go. It was sad news about Adam Brenneman. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, number 84.
Yeah.
I mean, is it 84?
No.
By the way, let me just ask this question. Why in college football can you have the same number of offensive and defense? I've never understood that.
Well, you could have the same number, you just couldn't be on the same on the field together. So if you're on special teams, say I'm on punt, and the other 84 is on punt, that wouldn't work. Only one 84 is allowed on the field.
I don't think there was enough room for 270, number 76s when I played. Didn't have much of an ego, but I'll take that one. But talk about it. You want to talk about his devastating injury.
He was another great addition to the tight ends. You had Jesse James, you had Kyle Carter, and then you had Adam Brenneman. And that was going to be a nice change-up because they aren't just tight ends just to put your hand down the line. They're also kind of like split ends, where they can go out as a wide receiver. They had their strength and they had their height against all those corners. Well, now since he's cut out, it limits the depth, and that's where you get the point with Penn State, right? Because we're slowly getting our scholarship back, but it's just a matter of do we have enough players at that position.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, I'd like to pick it up a little bit longer here. We're going to head right into here a break, and we're going to try to solve some of these technical issues out there. So if you're listening on radio, we're going to try to get this straightened out here for you. They can hear us, but it's just not that clear. So we're going to try to take a break, and we're right back here listening to Lions Live on the Forever Lions Network, and we thank you for your support. So please stand by right after this break.
And I'm going to shove the phone.
Okay, this is a 6-minute break.
Are you sure 6 minutes since last time?
Well, he said it's 6, and I'm going to try to adjust the feed. So you know the feedback to the studio is not picking up that good. So let's see.
What time is it? Because we should be able to watch for the game.
We've got that hard break coming up here shortly.
Yeah, so we may have an interruption in 6 minutes.
Yes.
Simultaneously, there's going to be an issue.
Well, actually, it's just a station ID. Let's see.
So let me know.
Okay, how about now? Is that any better back at the studio? Let's see. I'm getting so much sound on here. I'm just wondering if this is picking up at the studio. When we're on breaks, I can, or during the show, he Skypes me, so I know when we're doing the breaks and out. But we're picking up a lot of ambient sound up. We can have a mixer. Okay, so it's good to go. All right, let's see, how soon?
We go 2 minutes.
Ask for let's get back to the studio. Do we have a hard break at the top of the hour? Well, tell me, just tell me up.
Tell me.
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me? Hey, we're here at the, we're actually here at the show, buddy. We're actually live soon. So, what's that? Can you hear me, Tommy? AM 970 and FMY 106. Okay. What's that? You're coming out? Okay, give us a shot when you're done, Tommy. It'd be great to catch up with you. Back in the studio. Yes, you are hearing us live on the screen there because that is coming. Thanks, Tommy. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye. Back to the studio. Yeah, that's a live stream on the website, so you're going to be hearing that. That stream is live all the time. You just let me know when we're going to break. Send me a Skype message when you want us back online. So let's see.
All of them are up.
We should be back here any second here. What do you guys want to pick up next?
I don't know, Kyle, what you think, man? You want to do Big Ten or anything you're interested in talking about?
I'm curious about Maryland and Rutgers and how they're going to play.
That was going to be one of the questions.
Great, good call.
That was going to be. So you want to talk about this?
ACC is a lot different than Big Ten. I'm curious to see how they're going to.
And they're both in the East Division. Yeah. So did you want to talk about the division and changing? Have you kept up with any of it?
Well, not really, but I'm just curious to see. I know
I'm getting
people
message,
play
guys.
You want to lead that discussion? You can.
We're back here. Okay, we're back here live at Grange Fair. This is Live's Live. We're by the players for you to catch. If you're on the side of the Grange Fair and race to win. Lunch at halftime. Players at Grange Fair and registered this week at headquarters. The draw will be held on Thursday, right before the Outlaws concert. So head on into headquarters, register, win lunch with the former players at Beaver Stadium at halftime during the first home game, and we'll be making that drawing there. My name's Skip Rowell, this along with Stephen Davis and Kyle Bobbles here, bringing the best of Penn State past, talking about the present team here, looking for a great future of football on the only network built by the players for the fans. We are not a podcast. We are not pre-recorded. We are live. So talking Penn State football here. And Kyle, we're going to break here. Do you want to talk a little bit more about Rutgers and Maryland? So we're going to share some of your thoughts, what you see.
I wonder how they're going to do in the Big Ten, because they're in the ACC, and ACC is usually a little bit quicker, more passive kind of offense. So how are you going to match up to a powerhouse, Michigan, Iowa, they're ready to go with that physical toughness mentality? That's my question.
All right, well, I should say, look, shortly after Maryland, I think certainly Maryland may not have the physicality yet. I think what you're going to see is what they have right now is not going to match. Obviously, this would be a year, it's not going to change it, but it may change for 15, and I think when you start to talk about recruiting. When we played Maryland back in the day, Maryland was that typical East Big Ten type of team. They had speed, but they were smashed now. And then they went away from it to, the spread and everything. I think right now, Maryland will hold their own, but not enough of their own. I mean, that division that they're in, let's see if I got it right. Okay, Penn State, this is the East. Penn State, Ohio State, Rutgers, Maryland, Michigan and Michigan State, I believe. And I'm not sure, I think, is Indiana, I think it's in the East as well.
They might be, yeah.
And then Illinois, I think, is on the other side. And when you start to look at those teams, I think Indiana or Illinois, and then those teams will play with them, I think they should be able to handle Purdue. But when we start talking about Wisconsin, we start talking about Indiana, Nebraska.
Horses out of the equine facility at 6 o'clock tonight. They'll be drinking your shift.
State Police will be visiting their horses at 6:30. Now, historically, we played Rutgers when we played. It was always a tough football game. If Rutgers and Temple weren't ready for anybody else, we played as tough. And when you on the team, I think we almost dropped on Temple one year.
Yeah, the way Temple and Rutgers come ready to play is what the coaches will say to the players. Penn State didn't recruit you, we recruit you. And that's how we got that fired up mentality against us, against Penn State. Because they were upset that we never recruited them, they never had a shot in Penn State. They always fired up. Other teams, they were always fired up. They always circled Penn State.
And I think Rutgers had their hot time when they had Ray Rice. And they were in the Big East. And Rutgers has grown a lot as a program. I mean, they have the facilities and everything else. But my understanding is we even stole some of their recruits. Once Coach came over, Coach Franklin came over, things changed. Rutgers did not have a big year recruiting. And I think what's going to have to happen is they're going to have to try another strategy to get people in. I think Rutgers will struggle. We should be able, again, we should be able to handle Rutgers. That's what I'm concerned about, whether we can handle it. Now, Rutgers played in succession, played against Ohio State, played against Michigan State. Very difficult. That East Division is probably the new black and blue division of college football, one of them. And of course, the other one I would say that is elite is the SEC West with LSU, with Bama, with Auburn, and all those other teams that are out there as well. So when we start to talk about someone coming into a good situation, I think Maryland will hold its own, and Rutgers, to answer your question, I believe is struggling.
Now, I want to ask you some other questions. Back up a little bit further in your Penn State experience. Where were you recruited from, and what choices did you really have? Or was it always just Penn State food?
Well, I was born and raised in York, Pennsylvania, about 2 hours away from State College. Had about 19 scholarships.
Really?
A couple from Big Ten, a couple from ACC. I guess the Big East, which the Big East is no more. And some other places too. So I had a chance to go around and see the different campuses and meet the coaches. It was a pretty neat experience.
So what made you narrow down to Penn State? Just being from Pennsylvania, or is it close to home? Or?
Well, when I was a kid, I was always watching Penn State football games with my dad, and that was just a big thing. And when I went there, I loved the campus. It had the great environment and atmosphere where you can have a town, like a city, where you had like 2 downtown, 3 downtown streets, but then you had the farmland. It was everything all in one, and I loved it. You could walk the campus, you didn't have to take the bus. It had everything. Academics were great too.
That was one of the things I looked at as well too. Coming from South Jersey, we had some players that were here. We had some folks that were doing well and liked it. And a lot of people would go away more than 4 hours away and come home. I noticed our players for sure, were staying in South Jersey. They weren't coming home. And not only were they staying, they were graduating. And that's what I looked at as well. But so you never had, I guess, you never had your heart set on anything else other than Penn State.
Kyle, you have a fan here already. He'll give you he'll actually sign an autograph for you, sir. But we're actually
We're actually having a live radio broadcast right now, sir. So some people don't realize what we're up to here. And we were. I'll tell you what. If you're back at the studio, please get us to a break here, and we'll be right back after these messages. Thank you very much.
I'd say because we share. Should be pretty competitive, yes. What do you project? You have to listen to the show. I can't tell you, you have to listen to the show. I think like you say, it's all about. What do you think will be
How does that work with other countries?
like quarterback?
Hey gamers, all you guys interested in tractor pulls, you may want to go out to the tractor pull area. Take advantage of the t-shirts being sold by the Central Pennsylvania Tractor Pullers Association. Pretty good looking t-shirts. Creamy tractors.
I know. Oh, skip How we make it out? We doing okay?
Yeah, you're not doing it. But I can hear you, like I said.
Did you hear us another segment?
Whenever they were playing music over there, and now when he started, you can't hear it out there.
This is beyond frustrating.
Chicken
You had a lot of things up. Now it's just this. I don't know. So we'll do
You ever caught Dallas today?
You expect to tell me anything he gave you?
You said you give a spot. You said you give a spot.
Oh, that's good. What do you have left in the
Okay, so starting. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jackie. I'm in class 67 Germany.
I see no one exactly today.
I know 14 songs. Songs I know.
Kyle right here.
Back from the Philly area. Yeah, baseball players, soccer, hoops. They might be up. You guys want to put your equipment on one day? What do you think? I know you are. I can tell. 8th grade.
You know he's spent that, right? Did you?
I got Matt and Jeff Hall.
All right, here's the street.
Yeah, but you're not getting $2. So you want me to?
I'm going to hear each other. How are we going to hear each other?
Hello, how you doing?
On down the street.
What's your name?
It's the lost
Get a Hackenberg over here. He's practicing right now. He's a Hacker, right? That's not America. He's practicing tomorrow. Same time. Huh? Yeah, as far as I know. What's the best? I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm going to practice tomorrow. Where? I'm going to be at practice tomorrow. Tomorrow. All day. Well, you probably got meetings today. Meetings all day. I never met the young man.
Line might be close to.
What? You think Rob will win it?
All right, what are you doing?
How about next year? Get all the scholarships then, right? Yeah. Taking a lot of different I'm not sure. I heard his thing, nutrition class or something like that. They know what's happening? I have been doing great. He was a good football player. It's like an autograph.
I don't think he knows when we're going to break.
That's
not a break. We're not on a break. I told him, I said, we've not been talking for several minutes. And I've been waiting for you.
great.
I said, but you don't want to go to break. I said, we've been talking for the way to that. And then comments from the audio.
All of the songs that were writing, even the first time around the song called "The Grass."
This is my first time here.
It's huge. And what I was looking for on that unit, we let's sit down. Get to meet me is found. That's all. Down the lane I look, and there must be. Here we go, and it's fine shoes. That's the dream that's you're not. Okay, you stand. There's that old oak tree that I it's old and it's like you. If that's the dream you just and I hope that they really? And I realize there's a guy.
What?
I don't know if you like it.
What moment?
But it's context.
49. What?
How many folks remember that?
Kyle.
Well, 4 years ago, I'm not ready. Told me the original story behind that song.
It was first one.
It's actually written about 30 years ago, and it changed the words. We've been looking at way out here. It's like solar energy, nuclear power, rain, water, flush, flush. And your house is like a greenhouse, and there's a wild chicken house, back door of the greenhouse, front door of the house. Ready to get you anytime. One day,